There are nightmares lurking behind the glitz and glamour of Hollywood that no one wants you to know about. What outrageous secret is Los Angeles hiding?
It's really hard to describe how difficult the circumstances are for living out here in Skid Row.
Los Angeles is a very, very crazy place. You are constantly just worried about what you need to survive because everything's being taken from you.
I didn't care if I was trespassing or not. I'm a human being, but sometimes I don't feel like one anymore.
There's no dreams here. Only nightmares. You can get along, but this ain't the place you dream about.
Los Angeles, the city of angels, once considered the brightest symbol of the American dream, is now being submerged in a wave of despair due to the worst homelessness crisis in the United States. Here, you might accidentally pass by a famous star while strolling down Sunset Boulevard. But it would be even easier to encounter a veteran, a single mother, or an elderly person shivering and curled up on the sidewalk. This la-la land is no longer the promised land. It has become a tragic stage where tens of thousands of people are pushed into darkness, homeless, without a future, without hope, and seemingly nowhere to return to. In today's video, we will take you deep into the homeless hell in Los Angeles, where terrifying secrets drive ordinary people to the brink of despair. As usual, this is not a pessimistic warning, but a realistic perspective, helping us understand better and proactively prepare for the ongoing reality. Because sometimes, to maintain our faith, we need the courage to face the dark side head-on. And if you're ready to uncover the secrets hidden behind the dazzling lights of the most luxurious city in America, let's get started right now. There are dreams that were so brilliant that just mentioning their name made people see them sparkle like the sun. For many generations of Americans, the California dream is not just a concept, it is a complete belief. And if that dream has a heart, it is Los Angeles. The city of golden lights on Hollywood Boulevard, where immigrants eagerly set foot with hopes of a better life, where an ordinary worker can still buy a small house, raise 2 children, and dream of a peaceful old age. Los Angeles used to be a dream come true. However, now, behind that glamorous facade lies a paradise that is gradually crumbling, making way for a nightmare taking shape. On the long sidewalks, hundreds of makeshift tents sprout up like weeds, crowded among the bustling streets. At the foot of the towering skyscrapers are people huddled in old blankets, lying on the concrete floor in the heart of a city that once promised opportunities for all. The light of a California dream is still there, but it no longer has the strength to shine for everyone.
Across the city, the tents stretch everywhere. From Hollywood to Venice Beach, scenes from what could be a disaster movie.
If you're not shocked by what you see, then I don't know what you would be shocked by.
From the boulevard leading to Universal Studios Hollywood to the windy Venice Beach, a Los Angeles is emerging in a way that no Hollywood movie has ever dared to touch. A city tinged with post-apocalyptic hues, where tattered tents crowd under palm trees and homeless people pass through each day as if reliving a prolonged nightmare. The homelessness crisis here is no longer just a story of a few neighborhoods far from the center. It has spread like a flood, sweeping away not only the glamorous facade of the film capital, but also the lives that once placed their full trust in a complete American dream. Never before in modern American history have people witnessed such a heartbreaking reality regarding what is called the shattered American dream. According to the latest data, more than 75,312 people are living without a proper home to return to. This number is no longer just statistics, but a living testament to the widespread collapse. And they are not strangers. They once had a normal life like us. Yet now, they have to sleep in old cars parked right next to the glamorous headquarters of companies like Apple or Tesla, huddle under damp underpasses, or shiver on the doorstep of a Walmart convenience store to escape the cold wind. What's even more frightening is that these scenes are becoming the new normal in the survival landscape of Los Angeles. A city that was once a symbol of dreams is now a harsh mirror, reflecting a society that is allowing the vulnerable to edge closer to the brink of the abyss. Many residents nearby express their unease as more and more homeless people wander like shadows around the neighborhood. Some people feel deep sympathy for the unfortunate fates, while others are afraid, because although most homeless people maintain their kindness in adversity, there are still a few who behave excessively, causing disorder or polluting the area, making many families no longer dare to let their children go to school alone, or even step out of the house when night falls. But anyway, homeless people are not criminals. They are still human beings, veterans, retired workers, or fathers and mothers who once raised generations of children. They once had a place, once contributed to the development of America. Now, simply because they cannot keep up with an increasingly cold and expensive society, they are pushed to the margins as if their existence is something to be erased. We can blame skyrocketing housing prices, economic recession, healthcare crises, pandemics, and public policies. But there is an undeniable truth that when a civilized city lets the very people who built it slide uncontrollably, the fault does not lie with a single cause, but with a system that can no longer support the very foundation it was built upon. If even Los Angeles, a city once symbolizing beginnings, opportunities, and the American dream, is submerged in the darkness of homelessness, then where else can the light be preserved? Or will there come a time when, as everything gradually becomes too late, all of us will only be left with the memory of a dream that once was real? It's time for us to abandon the outdated prejudice that homelessness is a consequence of laziness, failure, or lack of education. Because the reality unfolding day by day on the streets of Los Angeles and across the United States is proving the opposite, that homelessness is no longer anyone's private story. This crisis has gradually donned master's and doctoral degrees.
But today, even with a surging stock market and low unemployment, homelessness is surging, and it is affecting regular working families.
Many people used to believe that as long as they worked hard, they would have a stable life. But today's America is no longer a place where a stable job can guarantee a peaceful life. Houses are no longer the inevitable reward for hard work. They have become a luxury that only a few lucky people can reach. Workers, despite having a full history of paying taxes, discipline, and a sense of responsibility, can still fall into freefall after just a few months of losing their job, a medical bill, or a public budget cut. Professor Daniel Marrell, a lecturer in astronomy at the University of California, Los Angeles, one of the most prestigious universities in the world, who once earned $70,000 a year. This is a figure that many young people still consider dream-worthy and sufficient to live a comfortable life. However, with the ever-increasing cost of living in Los Angeles, that salary was not even enough to keep him in his old apartment. When the rent became unaffordable, he was forced to leave, moving temporarily into a friend's house far from the university, and had to accept teaching online despite the job requiring direct contact with students. When he requested a raise, UCLA refused, and as a bitter consequence, step by step, he fell deeper into the dead end, like a crab trapped in an empty bucket, struggling in despair, unable to climb out of the bottom. Daniel's story is not uncommon. It is a dark corner of reality in Los Angeles that is quietly spreading across the United States. From university professors, technology engineers, healthcare workers, to freelance artists, an increasing number of highly educated people are sliding down without any safety net to catch them. They are not being laid off due to incompetence. They are suffocated by a system where the cost of living rises faster than income and support is increasingly shrinking. What makes us choke is not the numbers, but the feeling of being lost. When even those who are educated, skilled, and reputable cannot keep a roof over their heads? Where is the refuge for the rest? If even those with a solid educational background cannot have a roof over their heads, what remains of the American dream besides nostalgia? Perhaps people like Daniel are still lucky, as they haven't had to live on the streets yet. But the gap between staying over and sleeping in the park is actually thinner than we think. If even people like Daniel, or hundreds of thousands of other highly educated individuals, cannot withstand, then who else is safe? And where is the real hope for the American dream? In Los Angeles, it won't be hard for you to come across elderly people huddled next to skyscrapers. This is a painful paradox, as those who once built the prosperity of this city now have to live as if they do not belong to a part of the developing urban landscape. They were once the ones who quietly bore the heaviest burden of the American dream, only to be forgotten by that dream when they no longer had the youth to chase after it. That generation once believed that if they lived kindly, worked hard, and saved a little, they would be able to rest in their old age. However, no one told them that sometimes you can do all the right things and still not enough to keep a roof over your head. More than 36,045 homeless people in Los Angeles today are elderly. A figure that not only signals a crisis, but also serves as a quiet indictment of a society that is silently forgetting the pillars that have supported this country through countless ups and downs. Many homeless elderly people do not dream of anything grand. They don't demand privileges, nor do they seek to be honored. What they hope for is simply that after a lifetime of silent dedication, they still have a place in this community. A warm bed, a hot meal, a shelter that they don't have to worry about being demolished in the middle of the night. However, when the city is too busy to listen, when all attention is focused on the real estate market, high-tech zones, or distant metro lines with no completion date in sight, those elderly people are gradually being pushed to the margins. No one openly drives them away, but no one really extends a hand to pull them back. They just keep sliding down and disappearing, becoming completely invisible in the eyes of society. Because a society begins to decline not when the economy falters, but when it stops remembering the elderly. When we no longer cherish the memories, sacrifices, and values left by previous generations, we are also losing our very soul. Can a country truly be called great if those who helped build it no longer have a place to return to in their old age? We often say that children are the future. But if you walk along the streets of Los Angeles in the early morning, you will see those futures huddled in old cars, hastily chewing on dry bread, wearing tattered clothes from years ago. At an age that should be the most innocent time, filled with play, school, and dreams. Those homeless children are learning how to survive each day. In some school districts in this city, for every 10 students, at least one does not have a place to call home. No quiet classrooms, no restful sleep, no full meals. How can a child study properly and develop normally when dinner is just a piece of bread, and breakfast is sometimes just a can of soda to temporarily fill an empty stomach? When the whole family lives in a minivan parked behind a gas station and the only bathroom is the public sink in a McDonald's restroom, those children don't have time to be kids. And that is the scariest thing. Because when a child is deprived of their childhood, it also means we are stealing their ability to dream. Many people call homeless children the next generation of zombies. The living zombies drift through life without hope, without dreams, and without a future. They grow up feeling like a burden, like an unnecessary part of society. And if no miracle happens, that feeling will haunt them for their entire lives. We are creating a generation without memories of abundance. A generation that does not believe this society will protect them. Worse, there is no longer any reason to believe that efforts will be rewarded. When they were very young, they learned that perseverance, morality, or dreams do not help in this crisis. How will they grow up? When all they have ever known is loss, deprivation, and being left behind, what will they grow up believing? And if these children are the future of America, then what are we leaving this country but a huge void of trust and a generation that, before they could even dream, has been awakened by harsh realities? How does Beethoven's or Mozart's music make you feel? A gentle classical melody, playing in the midst of a crowded train station. For most of us, it is a pleasant sound, a bit of relaxation in the noisy life, sometimes a moment of stillness amidst the busy whirlpool of life. But, for those who have no place to return to, those who live in the city's underground, because there is no space for them on the surface, these tunes are not just a way to politely chase them away, and even more frighteningly, they are a sentence for the homeless living in the subway stations. Here, music is not for enjoyment, but a tool of coercion, a type of measure cleverly disguised under the sound of the violin. The melodies once associated with nobility, luxury, and artistic spirit now become a weapon against those deemed incompatible with the urban landscape. As long as Bach, Beethoven, or Mozart keep playing without pause, as if they could disappear gently. We are witnessing an era where exclusionary behaviors are becoming more subtle, yet more indifferent than ever. Public benches are designed to be rough so that they cannot be reclined on. Public drinking fountains have disappeared. The benches are divided by metal bars. And now, it's music. A piece of music plays politely, but in reality, it's a sugar-coated eviction notice. You are not welcome here. It's ironic that the very places once considered the last refuge, a train station, a porch, now also turn away the vulnerable. The symphonies resonate not to heal, but to push them further away, towards the corners we don't need to look at, don't need to care about, don't need to feel guilty about. Is this a measure to prevent vice, or an inhumane way to erase the presence of those who are struggling to survive right before our eyes? When the music that once represented intellect, culture, and humanity is now used as an invisible barrier to decide who gets to live and who does not, what kind of society are we living in? Or are we the ones silently listening to music, the ones being lulled into a moral crisis that no one dares to name? People often think of Hollywood as a world far removed from reality, where luxurious mansions nestle behind discreet gates, where parties and flashing lights are filled with ephemeral dreams. But then, in just one night, fire swept down from the arid hills of Southern California, completely engulfing the entire Hollywood dream in a sea of flames. A series of fast-spreading fires early this year have engulfed many residential areas, indiscriminately affecting everyone. The fire doesn't care how many digits you have in your bank account or how many millions of followers you have on social media. It only leaves ashes, and thousands of people lose their homes, lose their possessions, lose their memories, including those names once celebrated on the red carpet. My house, the neighborhood I lived in, has been completely destroyed. Everything we had accumulated over many decades has disappeared. An old actor shared amid the rubble, where once there were family gatherings, where family photos used to hang, now only blackened remnants remain. Those words, not only revealing personal loss, but also exposing a truth that society has long avoided. Homelessness is no longer the image of failure, but an unexpected fate that can befall anyone. Even those who have it all, fame, fortune, status, can become homeless in the blink of an eye, a spark of fire, or a night of horror. Wildfire disasters not only push thousands more people into homelessness, but also expose the astonishing fragility of the American dream. A dream that once painted a picture of prosperity, safety, and stability, now can vanish with just one incident. And when celebrities, those who once represented success, can no longer save their own homes, The question arises, who can still feel safe? Not all of them end up homeless permanently. But that moment, when they stand alone amidst the ashes, not knowing where they will sleep tonight, was eerily similar to what tens of thousands of other homeless people in Los Angeles face every day. And the gap between famous people losing their homes and homeless people suddenly shrinks to a frightening extent. Perhaps what shocks people the most is not that stars can also lose their homes, but that no one can be sure they will keep it forever. If even those living at the pinnacle cannot keep their homes from the hands of fire, of upheaval, of instability, then is there any hope strong enough to hold on to a dream that is gradually fading? Or are we, those who still have a roof over our heads, living in a delusion of stability until the wind suddenly blows out everything we once thought was forever? A city once regarded as a microcosm of the California dream, with a multi-billion-dollar entertainment industry, perfect weather, and a modern lifestyle, is now gradually becoming a symbol of a fracturing America from within. The cracks do not appear in financial reports, nor are they visible on administrative maps. They appear in the bewildered eyes of those who once had everything, in the worries of people working 3 jobs at once, yet still unable to afford rent, in the cold emptiness amidst a city that is always lit up. Here, wealth and poverty are separated by just a sidewalk. On one side are penthouses with infinity pools. On the other side are dozens of tents side by side, sharing a public water tap. Nowhere is the social stratification as brutally evident as in Los Angeles. And this very film capital is becoming a microcosm of the future America. What is happening in Los Angeles? Widespread homelessness, the collapse of the middle class, the elderly being forgotten, children losing opportunities, workers being pushed out of the city because they can no longer survive, is not just a local issue. That is the draft of a larger script, quietly being rewritten in Detroit, Philadelphia, Chicago, and New York. Any city that has ever bet on the speed of development while forgetting the people behind the numbers is facing a future no different from today's Los Angeles. There are no safe boundaries. Those who once believed they were immune to crises are now beginning to realize a sudden bill, a serious illness, a wildfire, or simply a rent increase is enough to push an entire family to the brink. If Los Angeles, Los Angeles, with all its resources, technology, and attention, can't keep its promise, then where will other cities go? When the very heart of the American dream is collapsing, do you still believe that dream is meant for you? Or has it become a luxury privilege that only a few can afford to hold? Los Angeles, the dazzling symbol of the American dream, has now become a place that exposes the deep cracks of this nation. Not just a few rundown streets or makeshift camps, but rather a system that is gradually collapsing, where even those who were once stable, educated, and employed can still be pushed to the margins. This is no longer just an issue for Los Angeles. It is a microcosm that illustrates the troubling future of America if we continue to turn our backs on the most vulnerable. If those who were once the pillars of society can no longer hold on, who among us can be sure they won't be the next? What do you think about the horrifying secrets in this city of angels? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel and stay updated with our latest videos. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. This video is created for the purpose of analysis, exploration, and sparking community thought, based on public data, official sources, and true accounts. We do not represent any political organization or government agency, and we do not intend to incite, distort, or mislead. All content in the video aims to raise social awareness and open up a space for discussion, and does not replace legal advice or official data sources.